Was everybody's favorite Hindu Indian prosecutor and attorney general and senator, and now she becomes black. But, I met her daddy, fine gentleman, Professor Harris. And the problem with her being black is Professor Harris says he's Caucasian, mixed Irish and Hindu. He doesn't have any black ancestors, but his Irish ancestors owned a lot of slaves in Jamaica and had them to work on plantation. So if mama is on the birth certificate listed as a Caucasian, daddy says he's a Caucasian Hindu and has no black ancestors, how did she get to be black? Now, a little side story. When I had my show, let's say this has been 26 years ago, I had two beautiful women that I thought were sisters on the show. And they laughed one time when we all went to a happy hour and said, "You think we're black, don't you?" "Yeah, aren't you?" "No, we're Hindu." One of them said, "My mother's a Hindu Brahmin caste. My father was Hindu warrior caste. He took an oath to the family to protect her. They fell in love, eloped, and now we got a death warrant on us. We can't go back to India." So, yeah, and then they gave me two books. The guys were Hindu, and they were very dark, but they cut their hair off close, grew beards, and started dressing and acting black, and they got financial aid. One of them, I think, went through medical school that way, masquerading for being black. Somebody else did it, so she went to Howard. And by the way, she told one big lie when she was talking about she got bust because of something Biden did when she was running against him. Well, the yearbook that she put out there that you can still get online from her high school in Canada shows she went from kindergarten through 12th grade in Canada, never went to school in the United States of America. She was born, by the way, in the same hospital that my ex-wife was born in, the same 12-month period, and my late mother-in-law was, in fact, a pediatric nurse in that hospital when Kamala was born. And the birth certificate that she has is interesting because the confusion comes from a mistake. On the birth certificate, it lists the mother's race as Caucasian, national origin India, and religion Hindu. For the father, it does not list national origin. It does not list religion. It does not list anything about that, but where it says race, they put national origin in Jamaica by mistake. Now, if you've ever been to Jamaica and you go over to St. Elizabeth Parish, you see all the high, bright, and white that live in Jamaica. So I've got a good friend retired from law enforcement. He has a white wife, blonde-haired, blue eyes, but she was born in Jamaica. Her parents were born in Jamaica. One's blonde and blue-eyed, the other one's red-haired and gray-eyed, and they happen to be related to the King of England because they are aristocrats in England, but they were born in Jamaica. So if you go over there, you see people from Hong Kong, Singapore, New Zealand, Australia, Kenya, South Africa, you name it. It's part of the British Commonwealth, and nobody needed a passport, and you could just go in and out. So it's not unusual. You're not black just because you're from Jamaica, and you have a whole lot of white people that never left, and their ancestors owned a lot of slaves. The Maroons went up into the hill country and got themselves free back in the 1840s, but other than that, it is what it is in Jamaica. So just because you're from that country does not mean you are of the black race. So the problem is why don't you go get your daddy to give you an affidavit that you have a black ancestor? And since the only possible claim you have is through your great-grandmother, who he says was a Hindu house servant that just happens to be swarthy, where'd you get your blackness from? See, you're faking it again. And I say this after 50 years of experience, the worst human beings you will ever find are career prosecutors. something slimy about them. They are so turned off by humanity and everything else, they don't care. They're trying to win the game. It is just play to them. They don't give a damn about the people they represent. They just want to win. So they lie, cheat, steal to win the game. And that brings up the other thing, where the Supreme Court of California ordered her to produce the evidence that was exculpating to somebody sitting up on death row that she had hidden. They did that over and over and over again with her hiding this evidence. Now, there are exceptions to this rule with career prosecutors, but if you ever want to sleazy somebody, find yourself a career prosecutor who's never done anything else but that until they have moved up. Now, there have been people